Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Bear the Strong Man coming at you from the office gym. Just had a lot on my mind. I figured I'd go ahead and share. You know, I like sharing. Sharing is caring. But what was on my mind today, I was thinking about this was, basically, what comes after you? What takes your drive, your focus? What takes your motivation from you? What steals that out of you that you can't keep going? You feel like you're just spinning your wheels, or it's too hard, it's too tough. What does that to you? And it jumped out at me in my Bible study today. I was looking at book of Genesis 31 verse 43. It's kind of the summation of the story between Jacob and his uncle Laban, or Laban, however you want to say it, but I'm gonna say it Laban. Just looking at how crooked this man was, and how he did Jacob, and to see our Father in heaven, see God, see how God handles things. If you don't know me by now, that's my source of strength. That's my source of power. I've been gifted with physical strength, and I'm an obedient steward of that. I'm a Christian soldier. I'm a soldier on. I'm a warrior for Christ. That's what I do. But this particular story, it shows how God handles things. This is at a time when, before Jesus, when God still spoke to us directly through dreams, or sent angels directly to us, and open covenants made, promises and this, that, and other from God to us. Of course, Jacob being the grandson of Abraham, he sets out to, after his own turmoil. Interesting story. You got to check him out. It's book of Genesis, first book of the Bible. Yeah, you got to check him out. So he teams up with his uncle Laban, who is Rebekah's brother, who married Isaac. But he works for his uncle Laban, for Laban, for 7 years. And then check out what he does. Check out how twisted this dude is. On his wedding night, right? He sends in his other daughter, Leah. Now, Jacob wanted to marry Rachel, or Raquel, right? But no. Laban says, no. It's uncustomary for me to marry off the younger daughter before the older. So he tricks her. So after he slept with her and everything else, boom, now you consummated the marriage, and that's your wife. Now, if you want Raquel, you got to work for me another 7 years. He know how to work 7. Building up trust, being, tending the flocks and sheep and herd and all the, shepherd of all these sheep and all his stock, livestock and everything, building Laban's wealth for 7 years, and he tricks him like this. That's not all. That's not all Laban does to him. Laban also cuts his wages 10 times. In the amount of time that he's there working for him, for his father-in-law, he cheats him out of his money 10 times, cuts his and he still honors the promise he made, because God made a promise to him. God made a promise to Jacob. So, okay, what does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with? I'm going to tell you what it has to do with. So, Jacob says enough. He prays to God, our Father, and gets an answer on what he's supposed to do. Honest and straightforward, he follows his heart and does what God tells him to do. He approaches Laban and says, look, any goats or any sheep, any livestock, any goats that you have, any sheep that you have that are spotted and striped, I'll take into mine, and I'll take as mine. And so that you know that I didn't steal anything from you. So if there's any black sheep, or any spotted or speckled, or any regular plain sheep that's in my flock, then you know I've stolen them from you. Honest, straightforward. Even though he's being dumped on, even though he's being mistreated, even though he's being cheated, he leaves it to God. He puts it in God's hands. So God put that on his heart to do. Okay, this is what you got to do. And he does it faithfully. He believes in the Lord and does what the Lord tells him to do. Then what happens? Next, all of a sudden, all of the sheep, all of the herds, they start having striped and spotted sheep and lamb. That's all they have. The strong and the weak, they're, you know, the strong are spotted, and the weak are plain. What's going on? God is all powerful and can do all things. If you remain obedient, if you remain faithful, guess what? You're gonna win because you got God on your side. And look what he does. So because he worked for Laban, Jacob worked for Laban for 14 years, total of 20 years by the time he made the decision to go ahead and leave with his grandkids and everything else, with Laban's grandkids, his own children, and decides to flee because Laban didn't like that. He didn't like the fact that all of a sudden, look, oh, I got he's got so much wealth in these sheep and these flocks, because that's all that's being born is the spotted and the striped. So, you know, okay, well, after he leaves, you know, that's where it picks up. It ends the story where they made a treaty before God that they would not come against each other. But the bottom line is, truth of the story is that he treated his own daughters like property. And once he sold them off to his son-in-law to do all this work, he spent their inheritance. They didn't get anything from their father Laban. You know, he was a very crooked man. He didn't believe in anything. He believed in the pagan rituals and all that kind of thing. He didn't believe in God other than seeing that Jacob's God was blessing him and doing great and wonderful things. So not only did he see with his own eyes what God could do, but he just still chose to be crooked. So God made a plan. God got after him, and that's the point. Sometimes you can't fight your own battles. Sometimes you have to lean on something greater than yourself. Sometimes you have to lean on God and trust God and have faith in God and let him work against the enemies in your life. Sometimes that's what has to happen if you want to win. You have to be patient and be faithful. What is faith? What exactly is faith? Belief in something you cannot see. If it was that easy, everybody be doing it. Everybody just be living, having a great time, with nothing be coming against you. But there's crooked people in this world. There's Labans all over the place. There's Labans at your job. There's Labans in your family. There's Labans everywhere. They crooked. They trying to take from you. They're trying to destroy you. They're trying to take and take, undercut you, undermine you, do everything they can against you and your children, telling your children things about you from your past to try and make them lose respect for you. All kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on in families and in businesses and on the job. We're promoting other people ahead of you. Rest it on God. Build your relationship with Christ, and I guarantee you that warrior right there, that general, that commander will come through and smite your enemies in a way that they don't even understand. They don't understand. How is it possible for the genetics of my entire flock, my entire sheep, all of them? They giving all of a sudden they giving birth to Stripe and Spotted for Jacob. What's going on? What's really going on? God's going on. Trust that. Now I'm motivated. Now I'm pumped. I got to get my workout in today. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about right here. Fetch you some Jesus. Holla.